Now, major change in the ongoing Shohei Ohtani saga. Oh, and I love a saga. I was born for the drama-o-rama of it all. So if you've not been following along, somehow you were out of the loop here, and you missed it, and it's possible you did, perhaps you're not familiar with it. So the interpreter, Ippei Mizuhara, has faced federal charges. He was charged with a bunch of random different charges over the weekend here. Major League Baseball, we have been told, expected to find Dodgers star Shohei Ohtani did nothing wrong. Not a single thing wrong at all. Completely as innocent as a lamb. As innocent as a lamb. We're told Major League Baseball will, quote, quickly interview and clear Shohei Ohtani of any and all wrongdoing once the federal government's investigation is complete, which, considering there's been charges and nothing against Ohtani, would indicate that the federal investigation is close to ending based on circumstantial evidence. It is close to ending here, and they gave a lengthy and a very in-depth affidavit, which is great bathroom reading when you're taking a dump there, against Mizuhara last week. Now, the document paints a clear picture. This is what the feds, they have to prove it, right? You got to go to court to prove it, but this is what their claim is. Their claim is, hey, Ohtani was just the victim and exonerated him of any knowledge or involvement with illegal sports gambling. The ultimate cardinal sin for a professional ball player. Ask Pete Rose about that. Now, Mizuhara, the interpreter, is accused of stealing more than $16 million. It was originally $4 million. Or $4.5 million. Now it's up to $16 million. So let us discuss. Are we getting the full picture of what happened with Shohei Ohtani and his interpreter? No, of course not. No, I've got Ghost, Whisperer, Volcano, and Carpenter. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to make wedding food, which, usually not that. It was okay. They had beef. They had beef and rice, which was okay. But I was able to go back. I snuck back and got, at the wedding I went to, I got extra food. So I was happy about that because it's the quantity, not the quality, that was my go-to. But anyway, all right. So you got the Goat, Whisper, Volcano, and Carpenter. So hey, listen. I get that this is the story that baseball wants. And it appears the feds are playing along and all that. I feel like we're getting one camera angle, right? It's kind of like when I was younger, and I used to get these hot debates because there was people that were convinced, like the Kennedy assassination. You had the one camera angle, and then you had the grassy knoll, and then there's a different camera angle, and that changes everything, and all that. I feel like we're getting one camera angle, and it's zoomed in. And maybe that's it. Maybe that's all. I mean, something about this story just doesn't smell right. It doesn't pass the smell test in my head here. I mean, the feds, usually they take 3 years on average to pour a cup of water. And you're telling me here, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, they're already done? Right? They've expedited the gambling investigation, and it's open and shut. It's black and white, however you want to phrase it. And as we understand it, based on, maybe I read it wrong, but as we understand it, Shohei Ohtani in this story the feds are painting was the Goat Whisperer. The Goat Whisperer. What does that mean? He's a goat of baseball. But in this case, it does appear that he followed the teachings of Chris Carter, the old Viking receiver from back in the day. You got to have a fall guy. And in this case, it's a scapegoat, the Goat Whisperer called upon, and the interpreter's just taking everything. That Ohtani was just a complete rube, just dum-da-dum-dum-dum. That's it, right? I mean, if you read the short synopsis, you've got Ohtani, who's playing the role of Dumbo, the flying elephant, and he was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and all that, and completely bamboozled, led down the garden path by the interpreter. Now, page 2 here, we are told the federal investigators reviewed the phones of the interpreter and Ohtani and found that there was nothing that wasn't kosher. No digital discussions between them regarding gambling. And that was interpreted by some as to be a clear indication that nothing went on, because otherwise there would be a whole bunch of text messages. However, there is a parallel dimension where these guys were around each other at the ballpark from about 1 o'clock in the afternoon till 11 o'clock or midnight. And by my Mauler math there, that's plenty of time to discuss whatever they needed to discuss, and also planes, trains, and automobiles. So did you expect that this Ohtani gambling story will completely go away based on this federal indictment of the interpreter and all that? So, no, I do not expect this to completely go away, like just vanish into thin air. I don't think that's going to happen. The story, I would put it right now at this point, and it's a page turner, but at this point I would say it's like a volcano, that the volcano can lay dormant. I think a volcano has to lay dormant. I remember I was in school. I paid attention one day, and they said a volcano, if it's dormant for 10,000 years, they just said it's dead, that it loses its connection to the hot molten lava in the earth there. And so but 10,000 years. So this story with Ohtani, you're like, okay, so it's going to go on the back burner now, and it can lay dormant for a while, but at some point, I would think someone's going to have loose lips here, and someone's going to say something, whether it's true or not, and they'll probably write a book, and then people say, well, you just did it to write a book, that kind of thing. And we get that all the time. And it'll erupt again and send molten hot lava in the air everywhere. And Ohtani and his pal were able to, the guy that was the interpreter, you're talking about a $4.5 million bankroll, at least with the gambling operation. You don't get that if you're making a normal salary. I mean, clearly Ohtani, his name was mentioned. Whether he knew about it or not, I don't have any inside information on that, but it's bizarre, right? And that there's no need to have a digital paper trail, though, because you're around the person all the time. And plus, what about the burner phone? Who knows? Maybe there was a burner phone. Burn, baby, burn. Who knows? Right? There's no way a bookie's giving some random dude that kind of money unless he knows he has access to get that money from somebody else, and somebody else is involved. All right, last word here. We're going to turn the page to Boston. I love baseball players and their random complaints, and we have one of those from Fenway, the Angels and the Red Sox, a couple of mediocre teams, neither one expected to be a legitimate threat in terms of down the line in October when the real pressure cooker gets cranked up here. But the Red Sox closer and former Dodger, Kenley Jansen, went off half-cocked at the balls. He was upset with the balls used in games this season. It says they are, quote, getting worse, and that sometimes he isn't sure where the ball is going. That sounds like a him problem, not a ball problem. He compared the cowhide to slippery pearls, because who hasn't tried to throw slippery pearls at one point or another? So what is your reaction to Kenley Jansen ripping the quality of the balls, the baseball balls? So I chuckled. I chuckled when I saw this, because this is your standard baseball complaint. It ain't me, man. It ain't my fault. Ain't my fault. I know what I'm doing. It's your fault. Right? I chuckled. Now, I've watched Jansen pitch a couple times. Saw him pitch for the Red Sox against the A's. Was all over the place, although he didn't blow that save. And just wild. It reminds me of Craig Kimbrell at this point, which is not a compliment. When you're compared to Craig Kimbrell, that is not a compliment. Right? You're all over the place. Anyway, 36 years old and just all over the place. And rather than taking responsibility and say, I suck right now, and he's tried to do that, but then he had to couch it, and he went on the offensive. And as the tradesman knows, if you work in a trade, you understand that old line that a bad carpenter blames his tools. Right? It's the tool's fault. It ain't my fault. I mean, you got me the saw. The saw's terrible. I mean, what do you expect me to do here? There's some grand global conspiracy for slippery balls that they're out to get. But yes, the standard star has fallen rhetoric, as we say. Do not let a falling star fall on you. It will not go well.